The Senate will please come to order. It's my pleasure to introduce today's devotional exercise, the Reverend Taha Ku of the Shao Shan Temple. Good morning, Reverend.
Good morning. Listening carefully to the piercing cheer of newly arrived birds and our springtime dawn. May you be refreshed and inspired. Breathing deeply of the spring breeze blowing warm then cool. May you be encouraged and uplifted. Sitting still in the evening, a chorus of the wetland peepers. May you be calmed and quieted. The season of new beginnings is upon us, bursting in buds before us, springing forth in a riot of life. Listening carefully to the songs of rushing streams and full-throated robins, may we be inspired. Breathing deeply of the winds of April as they traverse the sky and rustle the woodlands awake, smelling the rain-drenched fields, the rich, damp earth, the fragrance of spring, may our hearts be full of appreciation. Sitting still, surrounded by this season of new beginnings, may our spirits be buoyed by the boundless hope of all this new life. May we be courageous like the new shoots of spring flowers thrusting up through the matted wet ground. May your every breath be a new beginning, and like the season of spring, may each new breath bring with it a boundless hope and goodwill. May we rejoice in the steady pulse of life of the living earth, of our beautiful rose-blush mountains. May we rejoice in the dashing rush of snow-melt rivers. And with a heart full of joy and a heart full of hope, as we step forth into our day, may our actions and decisions reflect this hope and goodwill, and may they extend even beyond our blooming mountains. May this hope and goodwill extend further still than our brimming streams, to encompass all living beings on our gracious living earth. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend. I'll kindly ask senators to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag, United States of America,
of the United
and to
States,
the republic
which stands
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
Thank you. Are there any announcements this morning? We have a Senate resolution, JRS 25, relating to weekend adjournments. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
JRS 25, joint resolution relating to weekend adjournment. Resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that when the two houses adjourn on Friday, April 23, 2021, it be to meet again no later than Tuesday, April 27, 2021.
Now you've heard the reading of the resolution. The question is, shall the Senate adopt the resolution on its part? Are you ready for the question? Please unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've adopted the resolution. We have one Senate bill for introduction, S 137, an act relating to gender balance on the University of Vermont and Vermont State Colleges boards, introduced by Senator Baruth. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
S 137, an act relating to gender balance on the University of Vermont and Vermont State Colleges boards.
You've heard the first reading of the bill, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Education. This brings us to the orders of the day. We have on the calendar for action H195, read for the first time on March 12th, 2021. It was referred to the Committee on Judiciary, which reports it has considered the bill and recommends the bill to pass. Please listen to the second reading of H195.
H195, an act relating to use of facial recognition technology by law enforcement in cases involving sexual exploitation of children.
The senator from Chittenden, Senator Baruth, is recognized for the report of the Committee on Judiciary.
Thank you, Madam President. If senators will remember, 2 years ago, this body approved a moratorium on the use of facial recognition technology. And the reason for that, I think there's direct reasons in the real world, and there's also fears of what might come to pass with facial recognition technology combined with artificial intelligence. But in general, the reason for the moratorium was that facial recognition technology is notoriously unreliable when it comes to identifying suspects of color, produces false positives at a very high rate. And so, among other reasons, the House and the Senate decided to put a pause or a moratorium on that technology. What this bill does, you'll see it's very short. It seeks to create a very, very narrow exception for the unit in our law enforcement system that deals with internet crime and specifically child pornography. So we heard from Commander Raymond, and a problem that they have in his unit is they will come into possession of an image that is brought in under the child pornography statute. They seize the electronic devices of an individual, and then there's an incredibly painstaking and laborious process to go manually through that person's computer, some of which have millions of images, and to try to find whether or not the victim in the image they've identified is in any of the other images on the computer. And so what Commander Raymond proposed and what came to us in bill form is a narrow exception that would allow law enforcement to use this sort of facial recognition technology within one computer system, and the images stored therein and legally seized by the police, purely to sort through the images to find more quickly other images of that victim. So if you'll look down to the language, if I might read, Madam President, use of facial recognition technology authorized by subsection A shall be utilized only where law enforcement is in possession of an image of an individual they believe to be a victim, potential victim, or identified suspect, and the search, and here's the key part for me, the search is solely confined to locating images, including videos of that individual within electronic media legally seized by law enforcement in relation to the specific investigation. In other words, this does not open the floodgates to using facial recognition technology in the internet, broadly speaking, but only within the electronic devices and electronic media that have already been seized. You'll see that the Act takes effect on passage. Happy to answer questions. Our committee thought it was a very reasonable carve out from the moratorium, given the investigations underway and how pressing they are. So it was a 5-0 vote, and I thank the Senate and hope they will support the bill, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the bill be read the third time? Are you ready for the question? Please unmute. The question is, shall the bill be read the third time? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've ordered third reading of H 195. We have on the calendar for action H 366, read for the first time on March 19th, 2021. It was referred to the Committee on Government Operations, which reports it has considered the bill and recommends that the bill to pass. Please listen to the second reading of H 366.
H 366, an act relating to 2021 technical corrections.
The senator from Windsor, Senator Clarkson, is recognized for the report of the Committee on Government Operations.
Thank you, Madam President. H 366 is the annual technical corrections bill from our Office of Legislative Counsel. For new senators, this is a huge task our Legislative Counsel undertakes each year. Every year, the publisher of the Vermont Statutes Annotated reprints several of our titles in the Green Books. This year, titles 19, Highways, 20, Internal Security and Public Safety, the 24 Appendix, Charters, 32, Tax and Finance, and 33, Human Services, have been reviewed for reprinting. H 366 makes a lot of changes of a technical nature. It's a big bill, but appropriates nothing. It is 249 pages long and has 372 sections. The section-by-section summary alone is 21 pages long. While I know how much you'd love me to walk through every section of this essential but very dry bill, I'll give you some examples of what the 372 sections address. They entail correcting grammar and typographical errors, formatting lists, making changes for consistency and to conform the VSA style, eliminating legalese and removing language reflecting repealed provisions of Vermont law, correcting references, including cross-references to repealed or recodified laws, updating and correcting names of public entities and officers, and correcting terminology for administrative rulemaking. This year, I asked Jen Carby, our legislative counsel, who pulls this impressive work together, what her favorite correction was this year. Oh, she said, that's a fun question. I think I have to go with section 195, specifically changing within 48 hours of notice thereof as aforesaid to an actual description of what that notice refers to. In this chapter of Title 20, it refers to impounding animals. Jen says it is very satisfying to turn impenetrable legalese into something more concrete that readers can understand. And we who use the Green Books are grateful to Legislative Counsel for this detailed work, which keeps our statutes more accessible and understandable. Thank you. Your Senate Government Operations Committee heard from one witness, our Legislative Counsel, the aforementioned Jennifer Carby. We passed the bill out 5-0, and we ask for your support. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the bill be read the third time? Are you ready for the question? Please unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've ordered third reading of H 366. We have on the calendar for action S99, introduced on February 26, 2021. It was referred to the Committee on Judiciary, which reports it has considered the bill and recommends that the bill be amended as appears on pages 1089 to 1091 of today's calendar, and that when so amended, the bill ought to pass. Before second reading, I am going to kindly ask senators who are not reporting the bill to mute just because we're getting a little bit of feedback. Please listen to the second reading of S99.
S99, an act relating to repealing the statute of limitations for civil actions based on childhood physical abuse.
The senator from Chittenden, Senator Baruth, is recognized for the report of the Committee on Judiciary.
Thank you, Madam President. S99 builds on the work that the Judiciary Committee started 2 years ago in repealing the statute of limitations for criminal activity related to childhood sexual abuse. And this bill gets to civil actions based on childhood physical abuse. I wanted to begin by saying this bill came to us as a result of continued allegations of a culture of abuse at the St. Joseph's Orphanage in Burlington and Kern Hatton in Westminster. I don't need to go into great detail about those allegations. I'm sure you've all read them, but I want to characterize them for you if I could. I haven't been on the Judiciary Committee for long, 3 years, but in those 3 years, I've never heard testimony remotely like what we heard about what people allege they experienced in the 50s, 60s, 70s at both of these locations. I actually every day drive by St. Joseph Orphanage, which has now been turned into a very chic set of condominiums and is called Cambrian Rise. And I look at it completely differently now than I ever have. I always thought of it as a place that concealed a very dark part of Vermont's history. But having listened to survivors from St. Joseph's talk about what they experienced, which was profound sexual abuse, profound physical abuse, and allegations of organized abuse. In other words, nuns bringing children to priests in rooms designated for that purpose. They were pieces of testimony that I will never forget. And I wanted to just commend every survivor who came forward. They all were remarkably eloquent and impassioned. And what they were seeking is relatively simple in the law. So if you actually look at the bill, it seems as though we're doing almost nothing. We are removing 3 or 4 words that will allow the change we made 2 years ago to extend to physical abuse as well as sexual abuse. So with that said, I will ask senators to look at the language of the bill, and you can see in the first page what I'm talking about. As it reads now, it says a civil action brought by any person for recovery of damages for injury suffered as a result of childhood sexual, and we're adding the words or physical abuse, may be commenced at any time after the act alleged to have caused the injury or condition. Now, generally in Vermont, the statute of limitations is 3 years. And in terms of something that happens to a child, it's 3 years after they reach the age of majority. So by the time they're 21, the statute of limitations will have run under the normal state of affairs. But again, 2 years ago, the Judiciary Committee looked at that again and said, why should there be a statute of limitations on sexual abuse for children? Or now the proposition is to say on physical abuse. So the standard by which this is allowed to go forward, if senators will look down to the second page of the bill, and this is, I'm not sure if everybody's working from the same text, but the text that I have from the website for the Senate lists this as line 18 on page 2. And it's subdivision 2. It's a definition of childhood physical abuse. Childhood physical abuse means any act committed by the defendant against a complainant who is under 18 years of age at the time of the act, and which act would have constituted a violation of a statute prohibiting aggravated assault in effect at the time the act was committed. Now, in other words, if the person could have been prosecuted for aggravated assault, then at the time, then that now constitutes childhood sexual abuse. And I'll just, if I could, read Ledge Counsel's definition of aggravated assault. Aggravated assault is defined in Vermont statute as an attempt to cause serious bodily injury to another person or to cause such injury purposely, knowingly, or recklessly under circumstances manifesting extreme indifference to the value of human life. The one thing I would note there is that you'll hear that aggravated assault includes attempts to cause bodily injury. Given that these acts or alleged acts happened in some cases 40 or 50 years ago, the Judiciary Committee felt that attempts would be impossible to prove. And so we eliminated attempts, and we now include under childhood physical abuse only things that would count as aggravated assault, but not attempts at aggravated assault. One other big piece of the bill that I want to mention, and this again tracks with the work the Judiciary Committee did on sexual abuse. It is possible to sue the entity that was charged with protecting the children at issue. So if you look to the very end of the bill, you'll see that there's very similar language to what we passed 2 years ago. This section specifically applies retroactively to childhood physical abuse that occurred prior to July 1, 2021, irrespective of any statute of limitations. In an action based on childhood physical abuse, damages may be awarded against an entity that employed, supervised, or had responsibility for the person allegedly committing the sexual abuse. And here's the key caveat: only if there's a finding of gross negligence on the part of the entity. Now, that standard of gross negligence means that the entity not only didn't use reasonable care, but didn't use any care, that they were grossly negligent. And that is a compromise the Judiciary Committee made 2 years ago so that a prospective victim would be able to reach back to an entity, but they would have that gross negligence standard rather than trying to prove simple negligence. So with that said, Madam President, I will just again say that I couldn't have found the testimony we heard more moving. I want to commend several senators for their work on this. Senator Pearson, Senator Rahm, Senator Balint, our Lieutenant Governor, and most of all, Senator Sears, who, because of his own history and knowledge in this field, has made it a passion to try to redress some of these past injuries. So with that said, I am happy to answer questions. And again, I'll just add one more piece. Almost all of the victims at some point in their testimony said that what they were waiting for as children in these institutions was for someone to come and help them. And no one ever did. So what we are doing today is the least we can do. And I thank the Senate. We were unanimous on this bill, and we seek your support.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the Senate amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Judiciary? Are you ready for the question? So please unmute. The senator from Chittenden, Senator Rahm, is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm worried I might start crying if I say something, but I will be brief and just, first of all, thank the reporter of the bill, my colleague from Chittenden County, but also extend my deepest and most heartfelt gratitude, first and foremost, to the victims, the children of St. Joseph's who spoke with us in a restorative process that was, that is much bigger than what we're doing today. That can only give some healing and support back to those former victims, former children of St. Joseph's and their families. But I also really deeply want to thank my other colleague from Chittenden County, Senator Pearson. We were the two senators who were involved in the restorative process, and I really had a hard time seeing past my emotions at what we could do that would feel like a first step in the legislative process, which can be so cold and sometimes challenging for people who aren't used to it, to honor what they went through and try to make sure that other children either don't go through the same thing or have a different process to move forward. And Senator Pearson sprang right into action and knew where we could add value to our statute to support victims of childhood physical abuse as well. And so I don't deserve much of the credit. I really do want to thank Senator Pearson for working to move this forward, along with a lot of other obligations that he has, and staying in touch with the victims so thoughtfully to get us here today. So I want to thank the committee, our leadership, and particularly Senator Pearson. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the Senate amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Judiciary? Are you ready for the question? The senator from Chittenden, Senator Pearson, is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I suppose there should be a rule: if your name is invoked 6 or more times on the floor, you have to speak. I won't add too much to the debate other than to back up what senators have already heard. A handful of us, several members from the other body, Senator Rahm and I, met with victims from St. Joseph's in January for what I could only describe as the most memorable 2 hours of my 15-year experience in the legislature. And hearing their stories, and they were empowered through this restorative process, and maybe the good fortune of Zoom made it more effective for them, because you had people who lived all over the country now participating, I think every week, every other week, in an ongoing process. And they brought us in a very thoughtful presentation. And I can only tell you that every lawmaker in that call, including myself, routinely had to turn the camera off and take a moment. And it's interesting that we could do that, right? We had to escape for a moment to be with the incredible emotional stories that we were hearing in private. And I think that's such a stark contrast to the stories we heard of this group abuse. And what struck me so very plainly was the fact that there were not a group of, at the time, young people who were there for 2 or 3 years when things turned bad. These were people who had lived at St. Joseph's in the 50s, in the 60s, and in the 70s, describing a systematic pattern of abuse. And then turning to us and saying, can we help? And could you just help us have access to the courts? That's it. No foot on the scale, nothing to advance, just simply grant them access to the courts to tell their stories. And they are well aware that these stories are difficult to prove. But I'm very proud to have played a very small role, to be supported by others. A deep gratitude to the Senate Judiciary Committee for jumping on this. I know the bill came in late. And to the people who've had the incredible courage to bring this forward into our community, and with I would say, a unifying theme of their deep desire to be the last group that goes through something like this where the system completely fails them at every turn. They have my eternal gratitude for their courage, and I only hope we can turn their memory and their courageous acts into something that has enduring impact. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the Senate amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Judiciary? Are you ready for the question? Please unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've amended the bill as recommended by the Committee on Judiciary. The question now is, shall the bill be read the third time? Are you ready for the question? The senator from Windham is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I know some of my colleagues know that my master's in history is on Native American land claims, but my master's in education is on the experience of Native children in forced boarding schools here in what is now the United States. And as this bill was moving in judiciary, I thought very carefully about all the research that I had done, all the abuse that Native and Indigenous peoples have suffered within these schools across our nation, throughout our nation's history. And so this bill is really important to me because it is about, as the senators from Chittenden have said, Senators Rahm and Senators Pearson, it's about bearing witness. It's about unearthing hidden histories, buried stories. It's about giving people access to justice, a potential to actually have a wrong righted in some way. But it's also work that we have to do individually and collectively as a nation and as a state to wrestle with the past. It is a very important bill, and I appreciate all the work that has been done to lead us to this place. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the bill be read the third time? Are you ready for the question? The senator from Bennington is recognized. Senator Sears.
President, I thank the comments from the senators from Chittenden and the senator from Windham. The senator from Chittenden who reported the bill did an excellent job. I just want to emphasize that it is truly unfortunate that we heard a group of individuals from a different facility, a different type program with very similar stories at Kern Hatton School. It was particularly difficult to hear a lady in her 80s talk about her first days at Kern Hatton. And I would agree, I think every member of the Senate Judiciary Committee would agree that I don't think we've ever heard more compelling testimony to us to do this small thing in passing a bill to help. And I would also point out that in this year's budget, H315 contained a provision of about $25,000 to help with this, the group at St. Joseph's in their recovery. It's a small amount, but probably will be of great help in helping these folks heal. I would ask that when we take the vote, it be done by a call of the roll. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the bill be read the third time? And again, the senator from Bennington has requested a roll call vote. Are you ready for the question? The secretary is kindly asked to call the roll.
Senator Powell.
Yes.
Senator Baru.
Yes.
Senator Benning.
Yes.
Senator Bray.
Yes.
Senator Brock.
Yes.
Senator Campion,
Yes.
Senator Chittenden,
Aye.
Senator Clarkson,
Yes.
Senator Collmore,
Yes.
Senator Cummings,
Yes.
Senator Hardy,
Yes.
Senator Hooker,
Yes.
Senator Ingalls,
Yes.
Senator Kitchell,
Yes.
Senator Lyons,
Yes.
Senator McDonald,
Yes.
Senator Mazza,
Yes.
Senator McCormack,
Yes.
Senator Nitka,
Yes.
Senator Parent, Senator Pearson,
Yes.
Senator Perschlick,
Yes.
Senator Polina,
Yes.
Senator Rahm,
Yes.
Senator Sears,
Yes.
Senator Sirotkin,
Yes.
Senator Starr,
Yes.
Senator Terenzini,
Yes.
Senator Westman,
Yes.
Senator White,
Yes. Yes.
Senator Parent,
Please listen to the results of your vote. The yeas, 29, the nays, 0, and you've ordered third reading of S 99. We have on the calendar for action H 218, read for the first time on March 24th, 2021. It was referred to the Committee on Agriculture, which reports it has considered the bill and recommends that the bill be amended as set forth on page 1091 of today's calendar, and that when so amended, the bill ought to pass. Please listen to the second reading of H 218.
H 218, an act relating to the sale of unpasteurized raw milk.
The senator from Washington, Senator Polina, is recognized for the report of the Committee on Agriculture. Senator, kindly unmute.
Thank you for the reminder. Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to speak to the bill and then briefly to an amendment that the committee's offered to the bill. Vermont, as you may know, has a highly regulated system that allows limited sales of raw milk. Milk sales have to be direct to consumers at the farm or delivered to a customer's home or at a farmer's market. Farmers must maintain a list of customers who buy milk produced, including their name, address, phone number, and email. These records must be kept a year. Their milk must be tested bi-weekly down in Randolph at the state lab. Their cows have to be vaccinated for rabies, brucellosis, and tuberculosis. Daily milk samples must be dated and kept frozen for 14 days, and milk cannot be sold after 4 days from harvesting. If selling at a farmer's market, the farmer must show proof to the ag agency which markets they are selling at. They must keep the milk at a temperature of 40 degrees or cooler and verbally inform each customer to maintain that temperature. Wherever the milk is sold, a sign must be prominently displayed telling buyers, quote, unpasteurized raw milk, keep refrigerated, unquote. It goes on to say, quote, consuming raw unpasteurized milk may cause illness, especially in children, seniors, persons with weakened immune systems, and pregnant women, unquote. The milk bottle must also be labeled with the same message as well as the date of milking, the farmer contact, and the type of animals. Only registered Tier 2 producers are able to participate in these sales, and each farm is limited in their overall sales. They're limited to no more than 350 gallons a week. Just for comparison's sake, there are 20 states around the country at least that allow retail sale of raw milk, including New England neighbors, New Hampshire, Maine, and Connecticut. This bill, H 218, makes two sort of tweaks, I say moderate changes to the raw milk laws. It allows registered and regulated farms to sell their milk to a community-supported agricultural organization, the CSA. It allows them to sell at a farm stand or another farm. Most of the changes in the bill are included in Section 1 of the bill. It starts by defining a community-supported agricultural organization, or CSA. Most people are probably familiar with these organizations, but I'll read the definition. It means a farm or a group of farm or group of farms, each subject to regulation under the required agricultural practices that grow, raise, or produce agricultural products for consumers, shareholders, or stockholders that pledge or contract to pay for a percentage of the agricultural products on the farm or a group of farms. It then defines a farm stand, which I'm sure we're all familiar with, but it means a site on a farm subject to the required agricultural practices where agricultural products, principally produced on the farm, are sold to the public. The next section provides that licensed veterinarians must administer the rabies vaccinations and brucellosis and tuberculosis tests that are required for cows producing raw milk. It goes on to say that basically that the people who sell the raw milk through the CSA or the farm stand have to abide by the same strict regulations that the farmers, the initial farmers that I described, have to abide by. Basically, it says that sale or delivery of raw milk at a farm stand or a CSA organization shall conform to the requirements for warning consumers and labeling of the products sold to customers. It says that the producer shall submit to the Agency of Agriculture notice of the farm stands or CSA organizations with whom the producer has contacted to sell the milk, producer's raw milk. It says that a farm stand or a CSA organization selling raw milk produced on a farm other than the farm or farmers where the farm stand or CSA organization is located shall maintain a list of all customers to whom the raw milk is sold, including addresses, telephone numbers, and when available, email addresses, the date of purchase and amount purchased. They have to submit the required records to the producer weekly. Store raw milk at a refrigerated unit or other adequate storage that is capable of keeping the milk at 40 degrees Fahrenheit or below in a sanitary and effective manner, and display the same signage that are required for producers under a subsection of the bill in place where clearly visible to and easily readable to customers at the farm stand or the CSA. So basically, we're allowing producers of raw milk to sell through a CSA or to sell to a farm stand down the road from their farm to increase their markets a bit. But they all have to abide by the same strict regulations that our current law requires for producers. The committee heard from a number of people, Julia Brennan from the infectious disease epidemiologist from the Department of Health, Ashlyn Bristol, owner of Rebop Farm, the president and CEO of cooperative insurance companies, Andrea Etner, assistant professor of nutrition and food service department of UVM, Charles Gray, the owner of Four Corners Farm, Ken Henderson, co-chair of the Vermont Veterinary Medical Association, Rich Larson, owner of Larson Farm and Creamery, Michael Grady from the Legislative Council, Corey Pierce, a co-owner of Bread and Butter Farm, Julie Smith, research associate professor of Department of Animal and Veterinary Sciences at UVM, Representative Heather Superant, a reporter of the bill who also is a farmer, Molly Wills from rural Vermont, and Elizabeth Waring, senior environmental health program manager from the Department of Health. I would say that it's fair to note that some health researchers and experts are wary of the safety of raw milk and advocate against its consumption due to potential health issues as seen on the required signage. On the other hand, it's noted that Vermont raw milk producers have a strong health and safety record in both nationally and in Vermont, according to the health department and others, where foodborne illnesses generally stem from products like beef and leafy greens and sprouts, among others. And also worth mentioning that these farmers, as expected, are usually small farmers and enjoy close contact with the supervision of their cows. And they're willing to abide by the strict rules in part because they believe in their product and they receive a fair price for the milk that they produce and sell, generally in the range of up to $10 a gallon. Our committee vote in this bill was 4-1-0, and we hope that the Senate will join us in supporting these changes to the raw milk bill. Madam President, I have a short amendment. I presume this will be the time to describe the amendment.
Excuse me, without objection, you may.
The amendment has two parts. They're both fairly simple. The first basically adds language on page 2 of the bill where it's describing what a CSA is. It just says that it adds the line that they are part of a business of the farm stand and CSA organization. In other words, the farmer may be involved in the CSA, the Community Supported Agricultural Organization, but that doesn't mean that's all they do. It means that's part of what their business model is. The second change is basically you could argue it's a typo, but basically takes out the word delivery when they're talking about persons selling unpasteurized milk, takes out the word delivery and inserts the word delivering. There was really a typo there. So those are very short amendments. So again, the committee supports these amendments and hope that you'll support the amendment and support the bill.
Thank you, Senator. We'll first take up the amendment. The question is, shall the Senate propose to the House to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Agriculture? Are you ready for the question? Please unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
No.
The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. And you propose to the House to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Agriculture. The question now is, shall the bill be read the third time? Are you ready for the question? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
No.
The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you've ordered third reading of H 218. We have on the calendar for action JRS 24, introduced by the Senator from Windham, Senator Ballin, on April 15th, 2021. Please listen to the reading of the resolution by title only.
JRS 24, joint resolution relating to amending temporary joint rule 22A.
The Senator from Windham is recognized for the report.
Thank you, Madam President. Simply put, Senators, this is essentially giving us permission to meet in joint rules committees and other joint hearings during either the state of emergency or if we, as the Senate, decide that we need to continue our work. It is pretty straightforward. It is giving us permission to continue to operate the work in the manner that we have been since the beginning of the emergency. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the Senate adopt the resolution? Are you ready for the question? Please unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've adopted JRS 24. This completes the orders of the day. The Senator from Windham is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Pending announcements, I move that the Senate stand in adjournment until 1 p.m. Wednesday, April 21st.
The Senator from Windham has moved that subject to any announcements, the Senate do adjourn until Wednesday, April 21st at 1 p.m. Are there any announcements this morning? The Senator from Addison is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd ask members of Senate Natural Resources and Energy to come to the committee to follow the gavel. We have witnesses waiting. Thank you.
The senior senator from Chittenden is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Health and Welfare will meet at 10:25.
The senator from Chittenden, Senator Sorotkin, is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Economic Development will meet at 10:30.
The senator from Grand Isle is recognized.
Madam President, Transportation will meet at 10:30. Thank you.
Thank you. The senator from Caledonia, Senator Benning, is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate institutions will meet at 1 o'clock.
The senator from Windham is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Government Operations will meet at 1:30.
The senior senator from Bennington is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Judiciary will meet at 10:30. Thank you.
Thank you. With respect, the junior senator from Bennington is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Education will meet at 1:30.
The senator from Essex Orleans is recognized.
Senate Ag will meet 15 minutes after adjournment.
Thank you, Senator. The senator from Washington is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Finance will meet at 1:30.
The senator from Windsor is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Democratic Caucus will meet at 12 noon. We have a very full agenda, and I encourage you to get your lunch and be on time. We have a terrific presentation, 2 presentations. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Are there any additional announcements? The senator from Wyndham is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. To my colleagues in the Senate, it's that time of the session when we all start getting really angry and impatient with each other. We all dwell on each other's imperfections, and it makes it very difficult for all of us to work collectively as we careen towards the end of the session. So I was thinking this morning about Hemingway, and he said, "There is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility is in being superior to your former self." Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator. The senator from Wyndham has moved that the Senate adjourn until Wednesday, April 21st at 1 p.m. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the Senate stands adjourned until Wednesday.